The Republican Party is in a bad place, with their top candidate indicted 4 times and their debate standout, Vivek Ramaswamy, blaming anti-racists for racism.
Ayanna Pressley, she's in the Congress today. She's a member of the Squad. Her words, not mine. We don't want any more black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't want any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. Literally word for word. I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth. Ibram Kendi wrote the book, How to Be an Anti-Racist. The remedy to past discrimination is present discrimination. The remedy to present discrimination is future discrimination. So the other side will gaslight you when you say this stuff. It's like, oh, you're just making that critical race theory stuff up. No. These aren't my words. These are the words of the modern grand wizards of the modern KKK. Really.
Yep, you heard that right. 2 black Americans fighting racism are the grand wizards of the modern-day KKK. Oh, and Ramaswamy doubled down on those comments. He also denied the existence of white supremacy in America, one day before a white supremacist went on a shooting spree targeting black shoppers in Florida. Joining me now are the 2 people Ramaswamy dubbed the modern grand wizards of the KKK, Democratic Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley of Massachusetts and Ibram X. Kendi, author of How to Be an Anti-Racist and director and founder of the Boston University Center for Anti-Racist Research. Congresswoman, I'm going to let you respond to Vivek Ramaswamy first.
Joy, this is another reminder that the extremist GOP and their presidential candidates are a clear and present danger. Once again, they seek to rewrite history. The Ku Klux Klan is responsible for the Tulsa massacre, for the 16th Street church bombing and the murder of 4 little girls. And on this day in 1955, the lynching and the mutilation of 14-year-old Emmett Till. My ancestors, and I have living family members who were terrorized by the Ku Klux Klan. So this is shameful. It is deeply offensive, and it is dangerous. And, it is just a sobering reminder of why we have to be vigilant in the work of confronting and rooting out anti-Black rhetoric and policies. It is quite literally on the heels of what happened in Jacksonville, a matter of life and death. Joy, I served on the House Oversight Committee for 2 terms. I'm very clear on the threat of organized white supremacy that has been emboldened in recent years and what it looks like. I survived an insurrection when a white supremacist mob seized the Capitol seeking to interrupt the peaceful transfer of power, brandishing Confederate flags and erecting nooses on the west lawn of the Capitol. So this is another reminder that the extremist GOP and their presidential candidates are a clear and present danger, and their verbal assault on myself and Dr. Kendi will in no way deter or dissuade our efforts. It is simply meant to distract from their hate that they traffic in and their policy violence and their dangerous rhetoric.
And Dr. Kendi, let me go to you, because he went further, continuing to talk about you on Meet the Press, and essentially blamed. He says this. He says he thinks that creating race-based quota systems, which I think he thinks affirmative action is, which it isn't, that deny people access to goods or services based on the color of their skin, that's not the right answer to stop discrimination on the basis of race. As John Roberts said, is to stop discriminating on the basis of race. And then he says that I'm genuinely worried that we're seeing a new wave of anti-Black and anti-Hispanic racism as a consequence of these so-called anti-racist movements. He's basically saying anti-racism is the reason for racist incidents. And he named you. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's a very old white supremacist talking point. White supremacists have been saying for decades that anti-racist is code for anti-white. And what's also ironic is the only reason why we're even talking about him, the only reason why he even has political standing is because he has a brown skin and he's attacking Black people. And that's really his job. It's the job of Republican candidates of color to go out to white Republicans and say they are not racist and the real racists are the people who are challenging them. And so he's doing his job. He's feeding their denial, like a servant.
And, Congresswoman, that is literally what you were saying. I mean, we have watched Clarence Thomas behave. I mean, he said the Freedmen's Bureau was not just for black people. It's literally what it was. And he serves a very similar purpose. When I heard your quote, that is what you were talking about. You have people, as Dr. Kendi has said, they serve a purpose in which they themselves are people of color, but they speak only to white audiences. Vivek Ramaswamy is not talking to black people. He lectured Don Lemon for the benefit of white voters in the Republican Party. That is who he is attempting to entertain. I don't want to say that that's what you were saying. I don't want to misquote you, but is that where you were coming from?
Again, it's a consistent play from their tired playbook to weaponize words. I was speaking about the power and the importance of representation. But the real weapons here are their harmful policies, rhetoric, and the corrupt Supreme Court that they have enlisted as co-conspirators in their extremist agenda. So I'm going to remain woke, vigilant, and undeterred in the work of undoing the centuries of precise harm that has been done to Black America and charting a more equitable and just path forward, one of restorative justice and one that holds all those accountable from government to industry to our financial services for the promises that were made at the height of this so-called racial reckoning. So again, I think recent tragic events, and my condolences go out to the entire Jacksonville community and all families that were robbed of their loved ones. Hateful rhetoric leads to hateful acts. This is a matter of life and death. And again, a sobering reminder of the clear and present threat and danger that this extremist GOP is and their presidential candidates.
Indeed. Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley and Ibram X. Kendi, Dr. Ibram X. Kendi, thank you both very much. We'll be right back.